You want to do computer science at Temple University. You want to go to college. Why do you want to go to college? So you want to go to Temple University and you want to major in computer science. Well, you're in luck because you clicked on the right video on your nightmare rectangle. You know, I had about a year and a half to make this video since I graduated Temple. Yeah, I graduated Temple with a computer science degree. Yeah, there was so many nice days between since I graduated and now. So naturally, I picked a nice cold, windy day to do it. So I'm going to go over the whole degree and curriculum as well as like my experience at Temple overall. I will go over advice and I will do all this while assuming that you guys do not have an attention span. Yeah, I'm going to go everything from my classes to amenities, assignments, technology requirements, and what bathrooms are the best for shy poopers. I remember way back in 2019 when I started off as an electrical engineer here at Temple University. And then COVID happened. Stuff kind of got easier online, some of it didn't, but the classes in general started to get really hard for me. So if I'm getting a STEM degree, I am at least gonna find something that I enjoy more. So I switched from electrical engineering to computer science. Yeah, about halfway through my sophomore year, I realized I loved the software classes way more than the hardware classes. Coding homework felt like solving fun puzzles, especially the very early coding classes. I found them really fun and enjoyable. Before these classes, I remember writing off code and like computer science as a whole as something impossible that like I can't understand. Like I remember I didn't even know like what code was. Like, do I write it on a Google Doc? Then what do I do with it? Do I write code on a piece of paper and give it to a wizard? Ultimately, I realized like I wanted to get an electrical engineering degree because I had somewhat of a liking for robotics. But then after learning about the existence of Raspberry Pis, which are basically very easily programmable computers, I realized that whatever robot I want to make, these things could do it for me. So what I really need to do is learn how to program. Flash forward to now, and like I haven't worked that much with robotics, but I believe I could build robots if I wanted to. But yeah, I was like, there's no need to learn Kirchhoff's law anymore. There's no need to do all this suffering. I'm kidding, of course, to an extent. I love learning. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. So anyways, after deep, long, and practical consideration, while you're still a teenager, you decided to go for computer science. Or actually, maybe you're not a teenager, but regardless, you have to decide where to go. So without further ado, computer science at Temple. Your home base will be the CERC, the Science Education and Research Center. Their entire third floor is home base for CS majors. There's a few lounges here to do work, but most importantly, this is where all the CS professor offices are located. You'll have a lot of classes here and lab, mostly on the second floor. There is furniture there to lounge on, but only sometimes. I swear that the furniture in the CERC was sentient because every day it was in a new location. Other core CS classes will be at Tuttleman Learning Center, which is only 2 blocks away. I had a lot of classes here. So now I will bring up my schedule and talk about my classes. You need 5 gen eds at Temple. The first one I took was analytical reading and writing. I had a professor named Andrew Katz. Dude was super cool. It was a lot of rhetorical analysis. Intro to Engineering and Tech. This class is cool. I was on crutches my first semester, so it was really convenient to walk around campus to gather data all the time. Pre-calculus. First of all, screw the ALEX exam you have to take to get placed into a math class. I took up to calculus in high school, and they placed me into pre-calc. I think it ended up being a good thing because I got to really nail down calculus. This class, American Political Systems, I took because I thought that it would be fun to take a class with my friends, and little did I know that this counted as nothing towards my major and nothing towards a gen ed. So make sure you know what you're taking. Spring semester, the COVID semester, the fun semester. General Chemistry 1. As a computer science major, you have to take a lab, like a science. I think there's either like geology with rocks, you could take chemistry, or you could take physics. Don't take physics. Don't do that. Most of my peers took geology. Obviously, since I was an engineer, I took chemistry and physics because that's what you have to take as an engineering major. Gen Chem 1 was really cool, and I want to shout out, I had Dr. Bloxton as a professor, and he somehow made 8 a.m. Gen Chem 1 tolerable. Chemistry for me was just a lot of little things to learn constantly, if that makes sense. Intro to engineering problem solving. I guess I shouldn't talk about the engineering classes because that's not a CS thing. IH1, the good life. So at Temple, every single major at Temple has to take Intellectual Heritage 1 and 2. I don't know how standard this is at other colleges, but I hated this class. We were like talking about the first stories ever made. Calculus 1. A problem with maybe the math department and physics department I had at Temple was that sometimes there was a language barrier because of how thick some of the professors' accents were. I am very much pro diversity, and I believe in diversity, especially at universities. And I don't know what the solution might be here, but I will say that this class, I really only did well in Calculus 1 because I took it in high school. And it's not that my professor didn't understand calculus. They very much did. And they were very much good at teaching it, I believed. But I feel like that was only because I already had a conception of all the topics. There was other professors where this was really, really bad. I believe if you don't have anything nice to say, to not say anything at all. But my elementary classical physics 1 professor was the worst teacher and professor I ever had in my entire career. And I'm not going to name drop them, but you know who you are. Next semester, I took Gen Chem Lab 1. So when you take a science class, you have to take a lab with it. I don't know why I didn't take the lab in adjunct with the class. That's what you should do. But anyways, I took it the semester after. Computer programming in C. I had Professor Crotty. He was super cool. This was where all the assignments felt like puzzles to solve. Like I had fun doing the homework, and that's when I started getting a knack to switch to computer science. This was like when COVID was really bad, so all of this was online. Thankfully, they let us pass the class by not getting a letter grade. So you'd pass the class, but it wouldn't affect your GPA. So if you had an A and chose to do this, you would just pass the class and it wouldn't affect your GPA. But I did not have an A in Calculus 2 or Elementary Classical Physics 1. So I opted to just get the credit. Probability and statistics, I don't know why, but I have no memory of taking this class. Like barely. I don't know. I don't know what happened here. Elementary Classical Physics 2, I actually did well in because the professor was better, and also it was like physics in high school. I don't know why I'm talking about physics. If you take computer science at Temple, don't take physics for your science. Please don't do that to yourself. Next semester, Math Concepts in Computing 1. Math Concepts in Computing is basically discrete math, and it teaches you a lot about the math that computers use to make really fast calculations, and how much does it really apply to like everything else I've done in computer science and elsewhere. Like not much. I thought it was pretty easy though. Electric circuits, digital design. Yeah, these were the classes that made me realize I cannot do this anymore. It just wasn't for me. I had good professors. Shout out Dr. Bai. IH2 was better than IH1. I don't know if that's true. I think that the IH classes are very much professor by professor. So make sure you choose a good professor when you take these classes. Over the summer, I took program design and abstraction. Professor Fiore was my professor for this, and he was great. He was fantastic. Again, I couldn't believe how much fun I had taking a summer class. It was just enjoyable to learn about Java. This class teaches you Java. Intro to Academics in Comp Sci. So Intro to Academics is a class every computer scientist has to take, and it just basically gives you an overview of like what's available in computer science, like job wise. And I remember just learning a lot of general stuff about it that like I kind of already knew. I'll jump down here to CST transfer seminar. This class was required because I was a transfer student, in the sense that I switched my degree. It gave me really good information actually on all the resources that were available to me as a computer science student at Temple. Computer systems and low level programming. This class got into the nitty gritty and low levels. It was low level C programming, and it was pretty difficult. Math Concepts in Computing 2, I don't remember being that much harder than the first one, although I think I took the first one online. Decent class. Data structures. This class is probably the most important one I think I took out of all the CS classes, because it goes over the data structures used when you're doing programming. It's probably the most essential things that you need to learn in computer science, and that is what O of n means, what a heap sort is, how to make variables, the proper way to store data. You'll quickly learn in computer science, software design, that there is a million different ways to solve a problem, but learning the proper data structures to use will show you what the best thing to use to get the solution you want. I had Professor Dobor, he was great. You'll learn about everything you need to know. Next semester, computational probability and statistics. This class, I had the best professor I ever had. It was Professor Birocratic, and definitely take her if you can. All the concepts explained so perfectly, so nicely. The class was so structured, so well. I think we could all intuitively make concepts of like what that is, like your chances in any when you're gambling. But this class shows you exactly how to calculate that stuff. And I thought it was really cool. This class, independent research, this was specific to me. You won't have to take this class, but I basically just I decided to do a research project with a chemistry professor in the hopes of getting more CS credits. But the project ended up being way too hard, and the credits actually ended up not being allowed to go towards my major. It was just honestly kind of a waste of time that, don't make the same mistake I did. Intro Systems, Prog, and Operating. So this class is Operating Systems. I took Professor Kwatney. I hope he's still teaching. Professor Fiore also teaches it. They're both great. This class is at the top of the pyramid as far as the Temple CS department goes. This class has so much to digest, but it will show you how a computer works. Overall, I had a great TA for the lab. I think the most important thing I learned from this class was all the different types of scheduling that a computer has. And it just makes you understand like how what a CPU is doing, what the motherboard is doing, how it all kind of works, reading and writing. I found it interesting how much a computer kind of resembles a brain. Anyways, next class, Practicum and Software Construction. This class, I don't know if it's still offered. We had an adjunct professor. His name was Professor Kadri. And he was great. And this class just showed me like all kinds of cloud tools, specifically in AWS. Learned about Docker, learned about buckets, learned about storing data, just a lot of stuff in that vein. There's a lot of stuff thrown at me in that class, but luckily I was able to have a good professor and peers. These two gen eds, they were good. I recommend them. I don't remember what professors I had. I didn't look them up. I like philosophy. In the global crisis, I believe I wrote a lot of essays, but they were fine gen eds if you want to take them. Summer 2, I took a gen ed, History, Significance of Race in America. I remember that class being pretty easy. I think I learned a lot. Temple is like the liberal arts college, in my opinion. So get ready to get woke in a very real way that's not cringy. Data structures and algorithms. This class was important in the same vein that data structures was. Software design. So software design you take, and it's kind of a lead up to your capstone, and you kind of just get to go over the process that software engineers follow when they're working on a project. When you have a team of people working on a big software project, it could get complicated very fast. You learn about the version control languages and where software gets hosted. You'll definitely learn Git, learn about how to refactor code, how to make comments on code. You'll learn about the Scrum ideology, and you'll learn how to program with other people. Web application programming. So this class shows you how to build a website. Professor Kubernetes, I think, exclusively teaches it still. That might not be the case. I'm not sure. It's kind of been a little bit since I've attended Temple. But to be honest, this class was a little bit outdated, but it does show you the basics of a website markup, which is HTML, CSS, Java, and then a framework. This class, user experience design. This class was really cool, and I thought it was overall pretty easy. I had Professor Kubat, one of my favorite millennials. We just talked a lot about user experience design, as in the title. But there's no perfectly right way to design an app or something that a user is using. But this will show you all the things to definitely not do. Future Year TV. This was I think my favorite gen ed I ever took. I'll just leave it at that. Software security. This class was very, if you want to learn it, here's all the information. You kind of just gotta A for effort. But if you're trying to get into cybersecurity and you're trying to learn about how to do ethical hacking, how to build up a firewall, this class will show you. Intro to digital forensics. So digital forensics is basically the practice of gaining evidence off of digital stuff, whether for a crime or just to gather evidence for whatever reason. They'll show you a lot of robust free software actually that allows you to get really specific information out of your system. For example, you could get like what keystrokes were entered on a computer like a month ago. Stuff like that. I thought it was really cool. Seminar topics in computer science. So this class was actually a class called Information Visualization. I had a professor, McNeil. He was great. This class just went over like all the ways you could visualize data, such as like in a pie chart or a bar chart, bar graph. Everything we learned in this class was in D3, which is a JavaScript library. Projects in Computer Science is your capstone class that you'll probably take in your last semester as a student. If you're on track the right way, you basically spend the whole semester working on one giant project. And each week you have to go over what you worked on, and you'll be given a lot of direction on what you need to do functionality wise. You'll start off with just coming up with brainstorming ideas, then you'll decide on what you wanted to use for your product. For example, we decided to just make a website using React. We decided to use Google Services, which was Firebase to host all the data. And then from there, it's just building out all the functionality and running into problems and wanting to bang your head off a wall in a good way. Last class, the American economy. That was a good gen ed. Recommend it. Ultimately, I feel like I'm blanking on a lot of stuff. Like there's a lot of specific things I feel like I didn't think of to mention. And maybe that's because I'm on camera right now too, which I'm still not used to. But it feels like a lot of stuff went in one ear and out the other. Like if I were to take every single test I ever took in college right now, I would fail it. I would fail all of them so bad. But what it's all given me is the confidence to pursue anything. Whether I get into AI development or web development or cybersecurity or just general software development, or even stuff that's not related to computer science, those concepts will stay in your head. And when you revisit them, if you decide to, you'll be able to learn it all much quicker. It's the gift you get for paying attention in class. If you want to live a fulfilling life, I recommend to never stop learning. So you might as well get used to learning. So here we got some advice. So the laptop you use doesn't really matter too much, but you do need a laptop. Wow, you need a computer to be a computer science major? Who would have thought? I had a 2018 MacBook Pro, and that was more than enough. You don't need as much as you think in terms of processing power and storage. Get something that's reliable and just don't overthink and don't overspend. If you're on a budget, you'll figure it out. At one point during COVID, I remember I had to use Bootstrap to download Windows, which basically means I ran Windows on my Mac, and we got through it. Like, you adapt and overcome. More advice, number 2, is talk to your professors and utilize Temple's amenities and what they have to offer. Talk to professors that aren't even in your major. You are at a university and you are paying for all these people and the amenities. Start a money laundering club that utilizes a dark web forum that points out Ethereum breaches. I am on a watch list. Number 3, if you do a work study, a summer internship, or any kind of job, keep track of the time frame and the tasks you did while you worked the job. Do any kind of work that's related to your major and get it on your resume. Any kind of work on a resume is better than no work at all. And have good references. Work on projects. Have something to show for yourself. Actually care. Before you click off this video, let me tell you about my personal experience, my personal time at Temple. Student life. Temple University. There is nothing like it, and I mean that in a good way. At least for me. College is always what you make of it, but I think that's especially true at Temple. Like whatever college experience you want to have, like you could go have it here because they have everything. But no matter what, you're going to meet all kinds of people from all walks of life. And you'll come to be their friends and learn from them. If you're an open-minded person, this place could be the best playground you'll ever play on. If you're shy, I'm sorry, because unfortunately, there's a lot of people here. Don't just stay in your dorm room the whole time. Take advantage of the opportunities. There's a million clubs. Do intramural sports. Good times will roll, homie. And go have fun off campus, but be smart and be safe. Okay, let's talk fast and finish this up. Bullet points. Temple just got a new Charles Library update and a new College of Public Health update about to have the I think it's great, go look it up. What the hell am I saying? Temple has 2 gyms that have good hours, but honestly, in my opinion, they need way more room and way more equipment considering the size of its student body. They have a cool rock wall though. Be careful when you go out. The crime is real. Like, it's not a war zone, but at the same time, don't be stupid. There's a great DIY scene for music and art and more, and while I was there, it was so fantastic and has a special place in my heart and soul. I only went to Temple University
university, but I think that it's probably one of the best in the country as far as the art music community goes. So go get involved with art and community. Last but not least, there's tons of transportation around the university. It's smack dab in the middle of North Philadelphia. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope this video was somewhat helpful. I can't wait to edit this and get off YouTube. Get off of YouTube.